Hello, comic art fans, and welcome back to A Page I Love. This is Kevin Sharp. I'm here today with artist Mahmud Asrar, who has a new creator-owned book with writer Jason Aaron debuting in 2025. We'll come back to that a little later. But for right now, welcome to the show. Happy to have you here.
Hi, happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
So, Mahmoud, you've chosen an artist that I think a lot of people would be at or near the top of their favorite artist list, and at least in the modern era. But maybe a series that not everybody's going to think of first when you say his name. We're doing Adam Hughes, but please tell us what series we're going with today.
Right, yeah. So I went with Justice League America, one of Adam Hughes's earliest works, which had I would say, profound influence on me in terms of being an artist.
Did you find this live on the stands when it first came out, or was this something you discovered later?
Later, actually, yeah. Back then, in the 90s, I was pretty much into the X-Men stuff, the Jim Lee, and all the Image books, coming out. I was really big on those. Those are the stuff that I was actually only looking at, and those are the stuff that were influencing me most. But a few years later on, like around the mid 90s, a friend of mine introduced me to the Justice League book, and he said, "Look, this art is great, and you have to check it out." And I'm glad I did.
That would have been your first exposure to Adam's work.
I believe so. Maybe I've seen a cover or something before, but I barely took notice, until I actually saw some pages from this series.
I think this was my first exposure as well. So
Mhm.
exciting to dive back in. This is a real nostalgia hit.
Right.
As we talk, the viewers are going to see the page on screen, so let's just jump right in. Let me start with the big question. How did you pick this particular page out of his? It's kind of a limited run of issues for him. So why this page?
It specifically comes down to a single page, page 18, I think, from issue number 40. My friend showed the artist to me, and I was like looking at it, and it's the second panel on the page where Superman is floating in the air and Batman is crashed down on top of a gargoyle next to a building. I took notice of the way how Adam Hughes drew Superman floating in the air. Back then, I was really into, like, especially Jim Lee's artwork. I was a huge fanboy. I was trying to ape his style and everything like that, drawing and everything. But sawing this, it really like and was like a profound enlightenment kind of way in because it was so different to what I was used to, and in the way that Adam Hughes drew this in such a realistic way that Superman was actually seemed like he was floating in the air. And it was not what I was used to, like all the angry, like hatchy style of the Image comics and all that stuff. It was very different. And it really, like opened up new ways of thinking for me in terms of being an artist.
Was Adam at all during this time an influence on your own art once you discovered this?
After this, absolutely, yeah, he became a huge, huge influence to me, and he even grew much more. I loved him on this series. The expressions, the jokes he was conveying through the panels and everything. I literally laughed out loud at the stuff that he drew along with the script. And over time, he grew so much, stronger as an artist, and he became such a powerful, influence on me. So he actually did influence me in many ways in drawing and in terms of techniques, in terms of storytelling, and a lot of things.
What do you see on this page now with your pro eyes that you think is good, that works for you?
Again, I still think it's although it's one of Adam's earliest works, it still holds up really good. It has really great, great expressions and like great body language, and that floating Superman still like still affects me. And although his work is a bit more primitive compared to what he's doing right now, like the backgrounds are quite simpler, and like there's a lot more. Simplicity in his work over here. I think it's still very strong, and you can see the foundations in his work, and I really like that. And looking back, actually, like I also appreciate the inking. I believe it is by Jose Marzan Jr. And also the coloring, although it is simplistic, it's really on point. And there you can see some coloring ideas in the sky that normally you wouldn't see back in those days, I feel. So I think it's an impressive page still.
why don't we shift over to your upcoming book for 2025? Please tell the viewers a little bit about it and when they can look for it, how it came about, whatever you'd like to talk about.
Right. Awesome. So yeah, we're making a book called Bug Wars from Image Comics with Jason Aaron. With Jason, we worked on Conan before, and ever since then, we wanted to do more stuff together. And I've been itching to do some creator-owned work. And so we spoke together, and Jason came up to me with this idea of the book. It's basically the simplest way of telling what it is about is Honey, I Shrunk the Kids meets Game of Thrones. So this kid, somehow finds himself shrunk down into the garden of his house, and he finds there's a whole civilization of small beings living there and fighting each other and stuff. And so it's going to be really exciting and crazy. A lot of fun and really out there ideas in there. So I'm having a blast, and it will come out next year around February.
Great. Sounds almost like a Micronauts throwback for a
Right, right.
modern
Yeah,
age.
yeah, Jason's a fan, I believe.
Thank you again for joining us. Great deep cut pick, and I love it. And
Right.
we'll all be on the lookout for Bug Wars after the holidays.
Thank you for having me on board.